something in the air.
I felt a little lightheaded before.
It would feel good.
Welcome back to another episode of the Houses That Horror Built. And this time, well, we're taking a detour and going to the beach because, hey, summer's coming to an end, and what better time to travel to the beach? So before we jump on this weird, trippy film, Radar, how you doing?
I'm holding up. I am holding up. It's been a wild couple of weeks, but I'm here and I'm alive. What about you?
I'm doing, man. I'm doing. Took a nice, had a little break from school, so now relaxing a little bit, but getting into the group of other things. And yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about this one because we are going to visit the beach for.
I'm just having so much fun.
I need a hospital.
Oh, I need help! Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
Yeah, so Radar, when when we talked about doing this film, I was kind of curious if you really wanted to do it because this is so different from all the films we've done so far.
It is because we haven't had a cosmic horror film on here, which I feel like since all of our films on this show revolve around a house, it's kind of hard to do cosmic horror, but this is the one to do it. So if there's any time to bring it out, this is now. And cosmic horror isn't for everyone either, for sure. And there's just like a type of feel to it that I don't think resonates with everyone. And this film maybe falls into that category.
Yeah, with this one, it was definitely different because the introduction of the film, you're like, huh, all right, you're going this route. And then, this film takes a couple different detours, but in a way, I think that the way it was done, it did give it this original feel. Even though I'll talk about later what was the inspiration of this film. Well, inspirations, because there was 7 of them in total. But yeah,
7?
Seven different inspirations for this film. And when I tell you, you're like, oh, okay, I can see that. I can see that. Okay, the guy. Granted, when somebody, this was his first ever, film that he directed. He also wrote it on top of that.
That's pretty impressive. That's some pretty impressive stuff right there.
That's some added pressure you give yourself because, you have 2 elements. They could tell you the movie flopped, or they could say the writing sucked, and you're caught in both because you did it all. But, a lot of films do have a kind of typical way of doing the opening sequence to kind of give you foreshadowing or like catch your attention. So this one has a very different type of introduction with the whole scene of where we're kind of going in deep water. What did you think of that introduction at the beginning of it?
I think it's an interesting way to like set up the premise of it and it doesn't necessarily give the whole game away either. Something is being released into the world, but you don't know what it's going to do. And I think the rest of the film too does a good job of like peeling that back in layers or ripping it out in some instances.
So yeah, I kind of like it because I'm sure as horror fans, we're a fan of the ocean. We're a fan of deep water. Shark movies, but just the abyss. There's such things about the ocean that's captivating, and kind of the fact that we don't know really much of what's in the deepest trenches in the freaking ocean.
Hell no, we don't.
So this film does a good job of giving you that from the beginning. Because how many times have you watched, National Geographic, Discovery, when they do, deep sea diving? You see that those scenes of it's like underwater, like it was like funnels almost, like all that smoke coming out, and then you're
Right.
being told, oh yeah, this smoke is there's minerals and microorganisms that feed the ocean, and well, these microorganisms did more than just feed the ocean in this film. So before we started recording, we talked about how this film had a small cast. And I think that was very smart in doing that because it gave you more opportunity to focus on certain characters.
Right.
But there was one character in particular, which I'm sure we both liked. It was a character, Emily. Now, Emily does a lot of talking, especially what she's going to school for. Now, I mean, did you think of her and the foreshadowing she started giving, particularly when they had that dinner with her, Randall, Mitch, and Jane?
I mean, for me, it seemed a little ham-fisted at times, just because it seemed like it was like beating you over the head with how much she was talking about it. But I mean, still, it was a good vehicle to tell you, like, all right, get ready. We're foreshadowing. This is what's coming. But I'm curious, did you think it was a little over the top with how she delivered it during the dinner scene, or do you think that it was pretty reserved, in your opinion?
I think it was over the top with the fact that Randall said over my head. That was like, how's it good lean? Like, wow, you're saying all this stuff. We don't know what you're talking about, but yeah. And then later on, when they do the edibles and she's talking to Jane and Jane's asking more questions about, why is she interested in this and the fact that, she kept saying that if we understand the organisms are on our planet, we'll understand the organisms on other planets. And then Jane goes, "Oh, like if our planet's an alien planet," which I kind of like that she was talking about the ocean like that. So
Yeah.
they gave I kind of when she started talking at the dinner table, I think it was a little too much because I don't think anybody would want to listen to that whole conversation while you're
Probably
trying to
not.
eat and drinking wine and the oysters that play a like the part in this film. Even though I'm not an oyster fan, but if you're an oyster fan, you're gonna get kind of icky watching these oysters in this film. But I didn't mind it though, because like I said, I like the fact that Mitch said over my head, because it was a lot of information she was given, and then when they were high is when they really wanted to know more about it, which I kind of liked it that. But I mean, did you like her character in general though?
Yeah, I mean, she's like a good character in general, for sure, and she is very competent in the film, and I think people like that. They like, you want a competent character who's able to do things and is fairly independent. And granted, there's a few decisions where it's like, oh, you probably could have made that one, but for the most part, it seems fairly smart. And plus, like given the situation, no one's been in a situation like that or even remotely close to it. So, yeah, you don't know how someone's going to react to it. You don't know how you would react to it.
Yeah, I agree because what I liked about her character is, I mean, how many times we see in horror movies? It's one of the tropes where persons put into predicament and all of a sudden they know every single survival skill possible.
Right. Like
But
it's wild.
yeah, like for her, I felt like she felt more realistic because everything she
Yeah.
knew was because of her studying, because of what she was going to school for. Even when they're outside and we'll start talking about it, you see the bioluminescence fog come in, and then they're just standing there, and she's already describing what it is a mic. What she called it, a micro fog or something.
Something like
And
that.
yeah, which I like that she kept going back to what she was studying. But yeah, this is where the film takes this turn. So they're eating dinner, and you do get a little foreshadowing even more. I mean, I like the part where Mitch is washing his hands. He goes soft water.
Yeah.
You see all that shit on his finger. I'm like, dude, that water ain't soft, man. There's something in the water.
The
But he was high as hell, so he couldn't, tell the difference.
right.
But they go outside and they see this, this micro fog that just basically drifts in. And this is where the movie really starts the turning point. I mean, like, what did you think about this point in this film? And how much did it actually trip you out besides, the cast that were high as fuck?
Right. I think it's like such a good turning point. Like a kind of, you could split the movie into two parts at the fog and everything, and especially since everyone's under the influence of a substance, you might it could be interpreted that like what they're seeing isn't as wild as it actually is. Of course, it is, but but in the moment, if you're watching it for the first time, you're probably like, okay, so is this what they're actually seeing, or what's going on here? Because I will admit that the movie does kind of drag a little bit at the beginning, just trying to get to this point. But once it hits here, then it really, really picks up the pace and it's good. And that's why you can divide it into two sections, because after, they see the fog, then everyone goes to sleep. And then lo and behold, afterwards, things really pick up. And I'm curious, after the fog, like during the fog and then afterwards, do you think that like the fog was a good transition into what came afterwards? Or do you think there maybe could have been a little something else involving it to get there?
I think it was a good transition because I'm going to go back to the Mitch character. Because remember, he went missing because Jane went into like to bioluminescent, like little small forest or whatever she was walking in.
Whatever that was.
Whatever she was tripping. She wanted to go see it. But, Mitch disappears. So then, Randall and Emily pass out on the beach, and then he gets upset, goes to the bathroom. You kind of started seeing a little bit with Jane at this transformation, how she aged really quick.
Right.
But I like the fact that Mitch was just started talking to Emily. Because everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. And he just goes into this like almost like this conversation where he has this awakening. And he goes, everything's gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. He just walks into the ocean.
Yeah.
He walks into the ocean, and then the fact that you had her step on, which I'm assuming they were all Portuguese man of wars, because that's what they kind of look like.
Kind of.
So yeah, she step on it, she gets stung, goes inside. Now, meantime, Randall's trying to take a shit because he's not feeling too good. He's throwing up. The boy needs to go to the bathroom. Jane's in the bathroom. Yeah, Jane's in the bathroom the whole time. But when she sits down and she has the sting marks, and that little thing just sucks right into her foot, like So I thought it was a good lead up to it. I thought that the fact that it was still a microorganism that was in play. But I'll be honest, I did not expect how the people were afflicted and what was happening to them.
Right.
I mean, did you like that scene?
I think so, because this movie takes on an interesting, because it is cosmic horror in nature, but it also takes on a little bit of body horror in it too. It like not too much, but just enough to where you can kind of see it. Especially the clear highlight of this movie, and you might agree or you might disagree. I don't know what your favorite scene is, but for me, it's that foot scene where she is removing that thing from her foot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, between that scene and the basement scene.
Oh yeah, the basement scene's pretty great too.
Which I still wasn't sure what I was watching. I mean, am I watching something that came out of him, or was this something that was eating him? Because remember, I told you the influences that the writer and director said it was. So he said the movies that influenced this film were Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Okay, I could see that.
Body Snatchers, Shivers, Like Crazy, Alien, and Quarter Mist Experiment. I never heard of that movie.
Quarter Mist Experiment.
Yes, it's an old film. I think it's like 55 around there.
Huh.
Which I'm surprised you didn't know.
I didn't know. No, I haven't heard of this one. So this director he's got a deep repertoire.
Oh, he does. And then when I seen that thing in the basement, I'm like, oh shit, it does remind me of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, how they're trying to take the shape and form of, somebody else. And I thought that was pretty cool. And I like the transition too, because I mean, yeah, it was zombie like, and you still don't know if they were really zombies, but their transformation was slow. It took time, so they're not like, and for some reason they all crawl. I mean,
yeah, for some reason,
none of them walk. I mean, but I mean, I liked that because I feel like this movie is like one of these films that, like, you go in. I'll be honest, not everybody's gonna sit there and like, oh, the Beach House. I'm gonna watch this film.
Yeah.
A lot of us like the covers of movies or just like, quick synopsis. But if you read the synopsis, it's like what you read is not what you get. And I think that's the best way to describe this film. What you read is not what you get. And what you get is a film that it's 2 chapters. And the second chapter is just fucking crazy. I mean, you talked about we talked real quick about the survival aspect of this. I mean, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Uh-oh.
What would you have done if you were in Emily's situation? I'll put it more after when Randall turned. Like, what would you have done in that situation?
Oh man, that's such a difficult question. You really did put me on the spot, and I really can't give a full answer. I just recently found I just recently got a kidney stone broken up and cured, which brutal. Would not recommend. Don't do it, guys. For the love of God, take care of your bodies. But I've been having lower back pain for 2 years and occasionally peeing blood. And I didn't do anything about it until a couple of weeks ago. So I mean, my dumbass would probably sit around. I would still hang around in the area. So that's probably what I would end up doing. But because you and I, and everyone who watches horror movies, we've seen them so much and we're like, well, they're all being dumb. This is what you should do. Yeah. It's a completely different thing when you're in the moment, when you're dealing with it. And so, I feel like there's no way to answer that. We can answer it how we see it right now, but until we're actually in that moment, which heaven forbid, I hope we don't ever end up in that situation. But until we're in that situation, we will have no idea how we'll react. Do you feel like you'd be the badass who gets out of there, gets in the car, and just drives away and escapes?
Nah, I'll be like, listen, I'm just gonna sit here. I'm gonna find a one room in the house that has no vents or whatever. Just
for sure
tape them shits up and just hope for the best.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so smart too to have it be like an airborne through the fog type deal, because it really brings home that sort of again, that cosmic horror feel of there's just not really any escape. And I think it's cool too that the movie never shows how far it's gotten.
Yeah.
It could be that one small coastal town that they're in, or it could be the whole seaboard. No idea.
No, I agree, because even when they're listening on the radio and they have that message that's breaking through and they're saying that, just something in the fog, there's something happening, extinction level event, but it keeps breaking up. So you're not even sure if, like you said, if this is just happening there or it's happening, worldwide. And I think these films, are so underrated because of that, because we're so used to an alien invasion or that films that have to do with just basically nature in itself. I always say nature fighting back.
Right.
And nature doing a purge, because that's what this felt like. And there's so many films that are like this. And I think this is one of the first films that is actually something that comes out the ocean. It's usually something. Yeah, it's usually something
Yeah.
in the tree, something in the air,
Right, or
but
an
not.
animal, something like something on land though is
Yeah,
normally the culprit.
never something natural that comes up that's been going on for millions of years in the water, coming up to the ocean, to the surface, and basically wiping everything out. And I like the fact that, like, I'm sorry, I don't know if you agree with this. Randall was a total a hole in this film.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
just, I
Okay,
just,
at least
I want to punch you in the face so many times.
God, what a dick.
Hey, he was so selfish in this film. The fact that he didn't want her to go to school because the fact that he didn't believe in school and education, she shouldn't get an education. Which I'm sorry. Listen, go follow your dreams. Don't let nobody hold your dreams back. If you want to go to education, go to education. If you don't, you don't. That's on you. That is your dream. Don't let nobody tell you just because how
Yeah,
they feel you shouldn't be doing it.
that's wild. Emily deserved better.
She deserves a lot better. And the fact that the whole thing says, we're fucked, aren't we? We're fucked. We're fucked, aren't we? And well, we hope they were fucked because the way this movie ended, I mean, did you like that ending?
Well, anyone who's been watching Horror Fiend TV and has seen me knows I love a good bleak ending. This is a pretty bleak ending, and I think those are always perfect for cosmic horror because if there's hope in a cosmic horror, it just doesn't feel right.
Correct.
It doesn't blend it together well. And I think it made the right move. How did you feel about all the characters' fates?
I think Randall, I mean not Randall, Mitch, the one he got off so easy. He was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go walk in the water. I'm just gonna drown. I'm not. Yeah, something's going on. I don't even want to know anything about it. Jane's in there. She's probably all messed up. Listen, I'm just gonna go drown. I'm just gonna. That's it.
It is so funny. He just pieced out.
Yeah, he did, and he did it so calmly. I mean, the fact that he said everything's fine. Go around, walk in the water, drown myself. And then she's watched him the whole time. She waits till his head disappears. Start calling his name. I'm sorry if I'm with a buddy or somebody I know at the beach and they're just walking around into the water like that. Listen, I'm stopping them because obviously they're up to no good.
Yeah, you gotta at least throw a. You want someone to go in there with you or something, like at least a little bit. But something. Yeah, she waited a little too long to raise the alarm bells there.
Like Randall, to be honest, I'm glad Randall got killed. I think her fate was the one that I liked in a way because you thought that she was going to get out. You actually did. Yeah. She had the oxygen tank and shit. She's breathing through the oxygen mask.
She was doing the smart sort of deal.
All of a sudden, I don't know why she takes it off. And she's driving through a fog and she hits a tree. She lands in the water and then basically ends up on the beach. And I just like that whole scene where her eyes are already starting to turn. And she's basically, it felt like she was telling you, hey, don't be scared. Don't be scared.
Right.
Wave comes, she's gone. And I thought it was a perfect way to end this film.
Yeah, I mean, for what this film is, that was probably the best way to go out. Yeah. Is with that and not. I love that it's still open-ended. You don't really know what the hell is happening to people. You don't know I don't think we've seen in the movie. I don't think you see the final form of what the infected turn into. And I think that's the right move. Leave it up to the imagination.
Oh yeah, I agree. This is a film, like, watch this film, understand that the first chapter of this film is character building foreshadowing.
Yeah. And it is slow, people, but I'd say it's worth it.
It is. It's very different. And that's why I think I appreciate it. It's different. I mean, you watch it. I think the first time I watched it, I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? And then when I got to the chapter 2, I'm like, all right, this is getting interesting. All right, now the people are okay. All right, just the way it ends. All right, I'm good. So when I rewatched it again, I'm like, this is not a bad movie. This is actually a good, I guess, that cosmic horror. It is one that there's no hope, and it ends with no hope, which is, I like those endings. I'm sorry. I like when
Yeah.
the bad guy, wins. The villain. I like when the bad guy kind of wins. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we could keep going on this movie, but you got any closing thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a solid flick. It's not, you're not going to have your mind blown with it or anything like that, but it's a good way. I don't want to say it's just a good way to kill 90 minutes. It's a well spent time of 90 minutes. For being 90 minutes, I would recommend it. If this was 2 hours, absolutely not. That additional 30 minutes would probably be a killer for me, but I feel like, it's a good use of 90 minutes. What about you?
No, I enjoyed it. I like the film. The characters, like I said, I'm a character person. I like storytelling,
I know
and the
you
first
do.
chapter was pretty good storytelling. I mean, it was uncomfortable situations. You had a couple who, she has this future. Boyfriend's holding her future back because he's selfish. They stay in this house that belongs to the dad. You find out that him and the dad had a falling out because he didn't want to go to college. You have this couple that you still don't know why they're staying in the house.
Yeah, no.
You don't. I mean, they're friends of the father, but you don't know why they're there.
Are they though?
Yeah, you don't know, and that's
You
what I
don't
like
know.
about it. Because one of the things that Mitch said I liked a lot is, he's on the beach. He was like, I just can't. I just been wondering ever since I got here. Where is everybody? And in the beginning of the film, you get that where they're looking around and they're like, "Oh, we have everything to ourselves," and that's why I like too. They never told you what happened to the people
Yeah.
because now it's like I'm thinking about it. You don't even know if that event happened just that one night or was happening over
Right.
a
It was
span
continuing
before
to
they got
happen.
there. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's
It
what's good
feels
about this
like
movie.
it feels like a Junji Ito kind of story there at the beginning,
Yeah.
where everyone's gone and you don't know why, and then it kind of unfolds later. expecting Randall to go like, I found it. This is my hole, like a hole in the sand, and then he just enters it or something. But
I'm glad he never turned into a hero. He's fucking an asshole to his
no,
death.
but yep.
But
What
yeah,
a good
definitely give this film a watch. I mean, like I say, get past the beginning stages of the film.
yeah.
Once the fog comes in, I mean, and beautifully done cinematography. The atmosphere the environment was so beautifully done because it gave you this sense of hopelessness just looking at the atmosphere. I mean, that whole
Yeah.
scene where everything is an orange cloud and near the nighttime. I mean, amazing. I
Oh yeah,
liked it.
that fog scene when it first rolls in looks really spectacular,
Yeah,
honestly.
and it just keeps building. The fact it goes from this blue beauty to like orange reddish, which is basically you think fire, you think inferno, you think hell. So I kind
Right.
of like that transition. But yeah, definitely watch this film. It is a good watch. Give it a chance because like we both said the beginning's slow. It's character building. Once the fog comes in, it goes crazy. And hey, we like Jake Weaver. He's a very good actor. You don't know who he is. Dawn of the Dead. He played Mr. Know-It-All on that one, but hey, he wasn't Mr. Know-It-All on this one because
Nope.
he just said, "Fuck it, I'm going for a swim. I'm out." But we want to know what you think of this one because this one is probably from all the films we've done in this first season. This one was the one that was different from all of them. So
Oh yeah.
definitely curious what you think of this one. So this is JR, my boy Radar, the house that horror built, Horror Fiend TV. Till next time, peace.